Hello, and welcome to the Killer Cuties podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Cassidy, and I've seen almost every horror movie out there.
And I'm KD, and I've seen almost none of them.
So join us each week as I attempt to make a horror fan out of Katie.
As a warning, we will be discussing spoilers and some uncomfortable topics that may be in the plots, so feel free to check out the film on doesthedogdie.com first to check for any triggers before listening.
Today, we're going to be talking about the 2008 French horror film, Martyrs. Let's get spooky. All right, I'm going to go ahead and kick us off with a summary of Martyrs. So, in the 1970s, a young girl named Lucy escapes from imprisonment where she was being tortured and is placed in an orphanage. There, she becomes really good friends with another girl named Anna. Lucy also believes that she's being haunted by a demon who's causing her physical harm. So, flash forward 15 years later, Lucy comes into a home of a family of four and she shoots and kills the whole family. She believes that they're responsible for the torture she endured as a child. Anna comes over and is horrified, but still kind of agrees to help Lucy clean up because they are such good friends. Lucy then believes that she's being attacked by the demon again. However, in reality, it's just a manifestation of her own trauma and guilt, and she's self inflicting those wounds. Lucy realizes that killing the family didn't relieve her suffering, and so she ends up taking her own life. The next morning, Anna finds a hidden passageway in the home and finds another woman who's being tortured, proving that Lucy was right about the family being involved. Anna tries to help the woman, but a group of people come in, kill the woman, and then imprison Anna herself. We find out that there's an organization responsible for these tortures who are attempting to find out what happens in the afterlife by creating martyrs of these women, essentially torturing them until they can see the other side. No one who's ever been able to get to that point has been able to communicate to them what is beyond. So Anna's tortured until she finally reaches that enlightenment stage, and she whispers in the ear of the leader of the organization what happens after death. While the organization members eagerly await to hear what the leader has learned, the leader instead tells them to keep doubting, and she takes her own life, kind of leaving the end up to interpretation.
Yep, that was the movie.
That was the movie.
hmm Yeah, I've been blaming you for making me watch this,
Yeah.
only to be reminded that I'm the one who picked this movie.
Yeah, we were moving the schedule around a bit, and I gave Katie, what, 5 options for foreign
hmm
films to choose for this week, and you chose this one. You said you liked that it didn't have that many vowels in the title, so yeah, I feel like maybe you regret your decision.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
Um, and we were literally just talking last week about how we were going to ease into body horror,
Mhm.
yet here we are.
You know, when I said that, I knew it was coming. And I still said it. I
Well,
didn't wanna spoil the surprise, you know?
thanks.
Yeah, I fear maybe I did this movie a little too soon for you.
Well, that's okay. Um, I'll never recover, but
Mhm.
um, yeah. So lots of body horror. Um,
Yeah.
and it's in French, so I didn't really have a choice but to look at the screen the whole time.
Yeah.
Well,
Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing
I
at the
know.
situation we've gotten ourselves in.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think that we would be talking about this kind of heavy hitting of a film this early. But I mean, I guess
Yeah.
there's no time like the present. I didn't
Yeah.
dislike it.
Okay. I feel like that's fair. I feel like this movie, it a lot of people love it, a lot of people hate it.
Yeah.
Um, Both I understand.
Mhm.
But I think it is kind of a you watch it one time and that's enough.
Yeah. You're not gonna forget it. That's for fucking sure.
No, Although, you know what? There were parts I did forget about.
Oh my god.
So
What
so
did you
fucked up.
forget?
I forgot about, like, when she finds the other woman in the basement and she, like, is taking the head thing off, and
Mm-mm.
then the girl is, like,
No thanks.
sawing her arm. I kind of forgot about both of those parts, which makes sense because I think my mind blacked them out because I do think those are maybe the worst parts of the movie.
Ye yeah.
So,
Like, peeling off of the headgear,
yeah,
there were several times I had to pause the movie and, like, swallow a few times and, like, regroup,
ground yourself.
um, convince myself not to message you and say, "I'm never talking to you ever again, and we're not recording this podcast."
Katie sent me a message today when she watched it on TikTok, and she said, "Stop sending me TikToks until you apologize for this." So I did, but just so I could send her more TikToks.
Oh my god. Yeah, and then it turned out to be my fault anyway because I was the one who picked it, so
I mean, in all fairness, the 5 movies I gave you were all a bit much.
okay.
I think there was one in the group that was, like, the safest choice, and I think that was the one that you said you were between.
Oh,
You were like, "Oh,
no.
it was between Martyrs and Veronica, I think." And I was like, "Okay." Veronica was the safest of the options here. I think the other 3 that were on the list were also a bit much.
Now I know. The director swears up and down that this movie is not part of the what is it, like, the new French extremism movement?
Mhm.
He swears that it's not, and that movement is, like, all about polarizing media and, you know, gore, extreme gore, and had I read about that movement before knowing that he said it was not part of that movement, I definitely said, "This is part of that movement."
Yeah.
But, I guess you respect what he has to say about it, and it's not.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think a lot of people got impressions from this movie that were not really intentional from the director. The director actually wrote it as well. And he said that he wrote the screenplay when he was in a really depressive state, and that was kind of why it was such a dark, nihilistic tone to the movie. 'Cause it is a fucking depressing film for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, he was just writing it to kind of let that out. But along those lines, like, a lot of people who watched this movie felt that it was very misogynistic, and,
Oh,
he actually filmed an apology that, like, would play before some screenings of it, because he didn't mean it to be that way. Um, he said it wasn't his intention, it was meant to be an exploration of his own depression, um, and I think there's a case to be made either way. Obviously, the entire movie is about violence against women, um,
yeah.
but I also feel like it's not condoning it or fetishizing it. It's hard to fucking watch, like, every moment where these women are going through these things is not. I mean, you feel it. It's hard to watch, and I don't think at any point we're meant to think that the villains are, like, in the right. Um,
Yeah, I don't think so.
but at the same time, while I don't think it was the intention of the film to be misogynistic, I also think if a large amount of people are reading into something in a certain way, then intention doesn't always matter.
That's true. I and it's funny that you bring this up because I almost thought the opposite because he was putting the women in these positions of, like, extreme pain, and even the organization was like, "This only works on women because 'cause they're the only ones that can withstand it." So I kinda thought the opposite, but I could see how it could be construed that way, and I could see why he would have to apologize for it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I can definitely see both sides of it. It's I guess, yeah, when I first watched it, I didn't read it as that. Um But I also think after a while in horror, you kind of just get used to like violence against everyone, including women. But
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like we're both a little bit like maybe it's just me, but lower energy talking about this movie too because it is so heavy. Like it's so hard to watch.
it
It's really hard
is.
to watch.
I mean, it's hard to like. eh, Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of like fun.
None. Yeah, no.
You
Like
like coming from Scream last week where it's like that movie's funny and it's leaning into the satire and the comedy a little bit and this movie is bleak as hell.
yes. Yeah. And even like The Mist, which I thought was the most fucked up ending of any movie ever, like that's child's play. And it had tentacles. So like it, there was nothing redeeming in that sense about this movie. It was just
Yeah.
heavy.
It is. It is very heavy. I think the acting's incredible though. Like at least from the
Oh yeah.
the two women who played Anna and Lucy and apologize like I'm apologizing right now for not saying their names because I I'm too scared. I know I'm gonna butcher their French names,
That's very
and
fair.
I don't wanna get it wrong, and I meant to look it up so that I could say it correctly, but I didn't have time, so I apologize. It's a cop out. I know it is, and I'm sorry, but
I get it. I get it.
but they were fantastic. I thought they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, the acting was awesome. The both practical and digital effects were amazing. Like there wasn't anything, you know, low budget about it. And I think that that was a problem in the American remake, right? Is that they thought that they could do it for cheaper, and that ended up shooting the remake in the foot.
Yeah, I think the remake kinda, like, toned down the violence a bit, and then there were some plot things that were different as well. It didn't end in, like, as bleak of a note. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, I just say watch the original. I don't think you need the American remake, but, that's just me.
I almost watched the American remake for that reason because it was less
Yeah.
after watching this one because it was less violent, and then maybe like that version of it could replace the original version of it in my mind. um, but it did
Yeah.
not.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's fair.
This is also one of the scarier movies, I'd say.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's because there wasn't anything like no comedic relief or no, you know, light at the end of the tunnel, but
The
I was
tone
pretty
got to
scared.
you, huh?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that's
Mhm.
fair. The actress who played Anna broke 3 bones during the shoot.
Saw that. She fell off a soundstage.
Yeah, she also let them, like, actually shave her head for the role. Yeah,
Some Natalie Portman vibes.
I know. But both of the main actresses actually stated that they would never work with the director again.
Yeah, they clashed a lot, and he, like, segregated them from the rest of the crew so that they would be sad all the time.
Yeah, basically, they both said it was just a really isolating experience. There wasn't a lot of communication. They were a bit
Mhm.
lost on set. And I can imagine that this would be a really draining movie to shoot, period. And so not having someone who's warm or communicative would make it way, way harder to do.
Yeah. And especially with the director going out of his way to make it so that they're in this, like I think he called it, like, a heightened emotional state or something,
Yeah.
um, which is kind of a callback to our first movie that we reviewed where they intentionally made at Blair Witch Project, they intentionally made the cast hate each other.
Yeah.
Tension.
Yeah. They tried to evoke real emotions from them.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
just can we just be done with that? Just trust your actors.
I mean, it fucking works.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen just as good of performances from people who were not
Tortured?
made to feel that way on set. Like, I don't
That's
know.
true. You're right, you're right. There's no room for that anymore.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't know. I don't know about
there's
that.
a lot of talent out there.
Hmm. You know what I felt was a bit excessive? The whole thing,
The
but
whole movie? Thank you.
but rewatching it, so the mom of the family of four that Lucy kills is like at one point shown to still be alive. And then Anna tries to help her, but Lucy finds them and like beats the mom to death. And I felt like that went on like 3 beats longer than it should have. Not I meant like tonal beats. I didn't mean like physical Sorry, that was a bad
Either
choice of
way.
words. Either way, yeah. I just I feel like I was watching it and I was just like, "Oh, it's still going on." Like, "Oh my
Mm.
god."
Yeah, not gonna lie, I switched tabs during that scene. I switched tabs during the wrist cutting scene,
Yeah.
uh, flaying scene,
The flaying
backstabbing
scene,
scene.
if there's one thing in this movie that I think um like makeup or effects wise didn't do it for me, it was the flaying.
Like post flaying or like the
Post
action of
post flaying. I
oh.
felt like I thought it just looked silly. Like, I don't like,
Well,
her face being completely unchanged and then, like, just, like, muscle like, she looked like a fucking Teletubby. Like, like,
a Teletubby?
she looked like Poe. Just the white face and then red everywhere.
Oh
Like, I
my god.
could not take it seriously the first time. I still couldn't take it seriously the second time. I don't know why that scene just ruins the effect for me. I don't know. Look up Poe and then look her up. I swear to God, it's
No, I know what Teletubbies look like, and it is not that. So,
a little
oh
skinnier,
my
but
I mean, it worked for me. Oh, I
I mean, there
hated
you
it. I
go.
hated looking at it.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Um, it won a lot of awards for I mean, in smaller like, not like an Oscar or anything, but it won a few, like, horror movie specific awards for, makeup and practical effects.
Yeah, I think honestly everything besides the flaying is like incredible to me.
Mhm.
I don't know why the flaying just it didn't work for me. I don't know.
Yeah, it worked for me, but
Yeah. I
not
feel like in some ways this might sound weird, but stay with me. It kind of
okay.
reminds me of Barbarian in the sense that like well, secret passageway, but also
Secret tunnel.
secret tunnel. Um but like the way the story unfolds, like it was kind of like an abrupt change of direction, right? Like when I first watched this movie, I remember just being like, "Oh, it's a revenge flick. Like, let's go. Like she's going to come in and like fuck up these people who tortured her." But then all of a
Mm,
sudden she takes her own life and it's like, "Well, where do we go from here? What are we doing?" That's our main
yeah.
character, right? And it's not.
No, I had the same thought. I thought for sure she was gonna be with her through the whole movie. I thought she was the main character, exactly like you said,
Yeah.
but nope. Poor Anna.
She really had it rough. Like she's just trying to like be a friend, cover up a murder or two for her bestie, and then she tries to help someone and then she gets tortured.
Can we talk about that for a second, though? Were they besties or were
Sure.
they lovers?
I don't know. I think it's kind of left ambiguous for you to decide if there were like undertones there.
I decide yes.
I
And the
decide
mom
no because I don't want it
why
to be
why?
because I don't want it to be another movie where gays die.
Oh, true.
There will be no burying of the gays around me, okay? Not if I have anything to do with it.
True, true. Um, I mean, I don't I don't know that I have any friends that I'm burying bodies for. Dylan, maybe.
I think there was like a pretty distinct moment where I thought, "That's too far. That's more than I would do for a friend," I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also think, like, either A, you know, if you read into that subtext that they are more than friends and it's more of a lover situation, maybe, you know, you just said maybe your husband you would do it for. And also, I think it's important to remember that, like, for 15 years, I think that they were all that each other had.
True.
They didn't have family, so they were each other's family.
Mhm.
And I don't
And they
know, if
had
it was my sister, I'd probably do it.
true,
I'd be
true.
pissed, and I would hold it over her for the rest of her life, but I would do it.
Um, yeah, yeah,
What did
yeah.
you think about the ending?
Um, I get it. I, um which is a lot more I can say than I can say about some of the movies we watched. I didn't really get it, but, it left it I didn't like that it opened it up for, like, that to continue. I just wanted it to stop. I don't want any more women to have to go through that or any more people to go through that. Um, but I mean, I kinda liked it. It was like a surprise twist, you know?
But do you think they would continue? Like, if you were searching for an answer and the person who got the answer immediately killed themselves, would you be like, "I gotta know what the fuck they found out?" Or
Well,
would you
so
kinda, like, be like, maybe I don't wanna know."
they were looking for what happens after death, right?
Yes.
And she finds out and kills herself.
So you would take that as a good thing.
I think so. She killed
Okay.
herself so fast she didn't tell anybody else what she heard.
So here's where it comes into my brain, right? I think there's
Okay,
for me, because I know there's a ton of theories about this movie's ending, but for me personally, I think there's 3 real options, right?
okay.
Either 1, there is something great in the afterlife, just
So I saw
top
it.
notch. Okay, in that case, while I don't think it's far off that the leader would immediately kill herself to get to that afterlife, I don't see why she wouldn't share the information with everybody else. I don't understand why she would say, "Keep doubting" to that man. That implies to me that it wasn't something great.
True.
Another option would be that it's something terrible. In that case, I think the reverse is true. I could see her not wanting to tell them, but I don't see her killing herself to get there faster.
Mhm.
So, I think in my mind, the only option left would be that it's nothing, right? Like, if that's the only, like, in my mind, that's the only option that makes sense with her actions. She wouldn't want to tell people that everything that they've worked for their entire lives is for absolutely nothing. It was pointless. You spent your whole life searching for a meaning that just doesn't exist.
Mhm.
I don't know. That's how I read it.
No, I like that better. Honestly, I'm changing my answer and I'm locking it in.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, absolutely. No, that makes a ton more sense because that's like what I was struggling with is why wouldn't she have told anybody if it was so great that she wanted to die?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. Has anybody done any like lip reading of what Anna was saying to her?
I don't think so because she's, like, turned. Like, I don't think you would really be able to tell, and also, I'm almost gonna guarantee that he just had her saying gibberish. I doubt that they even had anything in the script
Right.
for her to say, because and one of the reasons why I like that the ending is ambiguous is because I think in a lot of times in horror, especially, like, leaving it up to the imagination is better. I don't
Yeah.
know if they could have scripted something better for her to have said than whatever everybody else is coming up with on their own, you know?
True.
And it's never
Yeah.
gonna appease everybody. You're always gonna have people that are like, "Oh, well, my idea was better." So, let
Mhm.
everybody think it's their idea.
True. We talk about ambiguity a lot, and I think that I've always been pretty steadfast in that, like, I don't like the monster to be ambiguous, but I do like an ambiguous ending. So
Okay.
this did that for me. I got to see the monster, the monster, quote unquote. Um, but I didn't get like a super clear ending and it made me think. You know?
Yeah. Sometimes I kinda like not seeing the monster, but I think with monsters, you almost have to show it eventually.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about this before where, you know, it's not as scary once you see it,
Yeah.
which I love.
What I
But
do
honestly,
like Oh, go ahead.
go ahead, go ahead. No, 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 you first, you first.
Oh. I was gonna say that this was, like when I first watched it, it was, like, opposite Hereditary to me. Because in the first, like, couple minutes, I was like, "Oh, there's this demon woman after her, like, it's a supernatural movie." And then once you kinda learn that it's not, it's just a manifestation of her guilt and her trauma, I was like, "Oh, shit, okay. Just people killing people. That's also fucked up. Great. Let's go."
That's true. So it wasn't really showing the monster because there wasn't one. It was personifying the guilt.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna say that the first scene with I keep calling her a monster, but she's just a disfigured woman, just like barbarian. Um, the first scene where she's like she's in the dark and her eyes are glowing and she's like perched on the bed. No,
Not for
that
you,
scared me.
huh?
That freaked me out. Yeah, that was like everything else was just gross and I wanted to throw up, but that like actually freaked me out. And like I can't. I like I'm gonna think about it tonight when I go to bed.
I know, I was gonna yell at you when you were, like, messaging me today because I was like, "I told you to watch this one at night." But I also
I
think
didn't need to.
yeah, I think maybe we'd be done here if you had watched it.
Well, that's the thing is that like I still don't think this movie is too scary to turn me off of horror movies.
Mhm.
I think it was too gory to make me excited for any more body horror. Cuz am I right when I say this is body horror?
Yeah, yep, I would say
Okay.
that's accurate.
Well, because I didn't know what camp was apparently and I kept using the expression, so I just wanted to clarify before I dug myself too deep here. But
What's funny though is that you used camp correctly until that moment where we realized you didn't know, and then you just kept using camp as example of camp movies, and I was so confused. You're like, "Friday the 13th." I'm like, "No, that's just they just go to camp."
But they're wearing lumberjack sweaters.
Not camp.
No, that's camping attire.
Yeah, yeah, we got there eventually, though, we figured it out together.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I would say body horror is a fair, definitely what this is. Some people consider it torture porn, which is another, category of horror, I suppose. I can't
Yeah.
I can't really defend that it's not because I can absolutely see why people feel that way. Um, and I think a lot of people were kind of upset because, like, Anna does eventually reach that transcendent state that this organization is looking for. So, like, some people felt that they were like the movie was justifying what they were doing because they were right.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like
No,
a justification of it. I feel like they were I don't know. I feel like for me, torture porn is usually when it's like when I think of like a torture porn movie, it's Hostel. Hostel is like I feel like the best definition where it's literally just about people who want to torture people for fun, right? And in
right.
this movie, I feel like they weren't torturing them because they liked it or even wanted to. Like it felt like a job. Like they had to.
Yeah, it was very transactional.
Right. It was cold, calculated,
Mhm.
clinical.
Ew, yeah. You're all very good words to describe it.
Thank
And
you.
without revealing too much about myself.
Mhm.
I eh, during Anna's torture scenes, I was like, "Is this gonna put my sexy rating up a point, or is there something wrong with me?"
Yeah, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, yeah,
100%.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
to be clear, I did not bump it up at all, ever.
Great. I love that for everybody here and everybody listening. Big fan of that all around.
Yes, yes. Um, how scary did you think it was?
uh,
I'm gonna be disappointed by this, aren't I?
I think you're gonna be angry. I gave it a 1.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
I don't think that this movie is scary. It's fucked up and it's brutal and it's sad, but, like, I don't think I ever had a moment in watching it where I felt scared.
Okay, I think I have a hard time separating fucked up and scared because
Yeah,
fucked up makes me scared.
there you go.
So
That's
I give it a
fine.
3.5.
Okay, and I think that's a very reasonable score. Again, we're learning a lot about each other in that there's something wrong with both of us.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I don't know, yeah, it's gross and it's brutal, but did it
yeah.
scare me? No.
Are you thinking about, like, did this movie stick with you?
Um, a bit, yeah, but I feel like more so just for the, like, graphic content of it. Like,
Okay,
honestly, there were a lot of parts that I kinda forgot, and honestly, like, the thing that I remembered the most about liking in this movie was the ambiguous ending.
great.
'Cause I think that's what made me think the most about it, and granted, you had a very gut reaction of, like, what you felt the ending was. I've had years to think about what the ending of this movie
True,
was. So that's
true.
why I had really thought out every option and what it could be.
Yeah, no, and I honestly, I like that. I like your option better. Way
Yeah.
better. It makes a lot more sense to me.
But, I mean, there's probably people out there who have thought of different endings that I haven't even, considered.
True.
Some people think that Anna never even reached, transcendence, that she just lied.
I thought about that too. That would be I mean, they would end it. Well, I guess the hope would be that they would end it at that point. There's no guarantee.
Yeah. Who's to say, you know?
I mean, there's probably some science, I'm not to say, but there's probably some science around, like, at some point your body is so injured or, worn down or whatever, that the only thing keeping you alive is your mental state.
Yeah.
So, I don't think that that idea flies with me because she was in such a bad mental state that unless she was in this, like, transcendence or whatever, she wouldn't still be alive, I think.
Fair.
But that's just science. Speculation.
Yeah.
Speculation of science.
There's speculation of what you think science is.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And what more can we go on, you know?
You know?
Alright, how sexy did
Um,
you think it was?
I I didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we give negatives? Because this one would be it's the lowest score I'm allowed to give, which I think would be a 1. I don't
1.
think there's anything sexy about this movie. It is just awful.
Yeah. I like the idea that there could potentially be lesbian representation in a movie.
Okay, in any movie, period, or
Yeah, 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 right? We want LGBTQ representation in movies,
true.
but it wasn't super obvious, and to your point, one of them died. Both of
Yeah.
them probably died.
I
That's
think
not ideal.
that's I think it's fair to say Anna's not gonna recover.
Correct. Yeah.
You
She's
don't
missing
really
an
just,
entire
like
organ.
yeah, the biggest
The
organ,
biggest.
the largest one, I don't think you just get up and walk away from that.
No, no. But even having said so, that did not make the sexy rating any higher than the lowest.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, I don't think there's much more to talk about in that regard. So how fucked up was it?
Okay, I gave it a 3.8.
Okay, that's gonna make
Almost a 4.
okay,
I think if the flayed scene didn't have Teletubby vibes, it would have been a 4.
okay.
But
See, that's
it
gonna
just ruined it a little bit for me.
okay. That's gonna make the math a little harder when we do
Oh,
our
sorry.
averaging, but that's okay.
Do you need me to
I'll live.
change it? I can do a 3.5. That's fine.
So you'd go 3.5 instead of 4? You wouldn't round up?
No, I would round down.
Wild. That's wild to me that you would do a 3.5 over a 4.
Yeah, I would.
Um, I gave it a 4.5,
Okay.
and the only reason it's not a 5 is because of that movie synopsis I read last week.
Oh. Okay, yeah, we should explain that. So Katie and I she kept getting mad at me because I wasn't rating things very fucked up and she was like I need an example of what you think is fucked up and so I sent her the Wikipedia page for the movie that I would give a 5. And that, if anybody wants to ruin their life, is a Serbian film. And I don't recommend watching it, but if you'd like to read about what happens in it, feel free. That's my 5. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And now it's
That
impacting your ratings, which is exactly what I've been saying this whole time.
yeah. That is also my I've never even seen the movie, but that is also my 5, and just to
Yeah.
clarify, the movie is called a Serbian film.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, that might be
It's not
confusing.
just a yeah, yeah, it's not just a Serbian film, like, made in Serbia or something, it's called a Serbian film.
It is. It
Um,
is.
and I don't recommend reading it.
I honestly don't either.
Yeah, so I think 4.5, honestly, the highest anything ever is ever gonna go.
Okay, okay. That's your limit because of well, until we watch a Serbian no, I'm just kidding, I won't make you do that.
No.
Um,
No.
I don't even think I'd wanna talk about that for 45
No.
minutes, so we're good.
I almost didn't
Um,
wanna talk about this
yeah, that's
because I've
fair.
just been, like, shaky and, like, pukey all day after having watched it, like, I've always you know how they talk about, "Oh, this film was so gory, like, people walked out at the film festival, people were puking." I've always been like, "No, that's real." But here I was, literally almost throwing up over a movie. Wild.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm weak.
No, 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 you're doing amazing, honestly. Alright, overall, what did you think? What do we got?
Um, I see I gave it a 3.5,
Okay.
um, because I liked the ending. I thought it was, like, beautifully captured. The moulage was incredible. Um, I know you thought it looked like Teletubbies, but
It's
I
just
liked the
sorry.
effects. Yeah, I'll never understand that. That's the most fucked up thing about this movie is that you thought there was a Teletubby in it.
I didn't think it was it just gave Teletubby vibes.
What Teletubbies did you grow up watching?
Like the no, the white face with red body. That's Teletubby.
No.
Yeah.
I literally cannot believe that word even came out of your mouth.
Do you think we're gonna get sued by the Teletubby?
I would if I was them.
Don't ever mention us with that movie again.
Ay, ay. But no, 3.5. Like, just because it was, like, a well-created movie, it was a well-made movie.
Yeah.
Um, I did like the story. I liked the ending. I liked that it left you with something to think about, but I did not like that it was so over the top.
Fair.
There has to be a middle ground between how beautiful this one was made and how happy the other one ended up ending. You know what I mean? Like,
You just wanted a little bit more hope.
yeah, is that so much to ask in a horror film?
Uh, no?
Okay.
I mean,
Well,
this is our 12th episode, and
oh,
none of
true.
them have been this bleak. So I think
True.
there has been hope in 11 of the 12 movies, you know?
Okay, that's true.
This is this is a heavy one.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say The Mist had any hope.
No, but that one's, like, so fucked you just have to laugh about it, because what else do
That's
you
true.
really do? It's kinda like a, "Oh," you know, not like
Yeah.
a, "Oh."
Exactly. No, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, no, everything else had kind of a silver lining at the end.
Yeah,
This one sure didn't.
it didn't. You'll be happy to know that I also gave it a 3.5.
Oh, nice. Okay. Same
Um,
page.
yeah. I don't, like, love this movie, but I definitely don't hate it. I think it's a really polarizing movie, which I understand. I think I've heard a lot of arguments for and against it, and there's parts that I agree with both, but I definitely lean more towards the things that people love about it.
Yeah.
Um, but it's not a fun movie to watch. I have only seen it twice. I don't know as though I will ever watch it a third time. Um, I think it's a great movie. I think once is enough, though.
Agreed.
Once is enough.
Definitely agreed.
Yeah.
And I will not be recommending it to anyone.
That's fair. This is not a movie I recommend very often. Um, just because it is hard to watch.
Yeah. Oof.
But I
Well,
recommend it to horror fans.
I d but
Yeah.
it's
If
still not.
you're No, I wouldn't recommend this to someone getting into horror. I would recommend this to someone who is in horror. You know what I mean?
But even people who are in horror, like, the gorier the movie doesn't necessarily mean the better the movie. You know what I mean?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. But I do think that the story around this and like you said, the acting and, the production value just like it's I think it's a good movie. So I think if someone's really into horror and they're like, "Oh, I need recommendations," I would probably be like, "Martyrs," but also careful. You know, just
Careful, SpongeBob.
careful, careful.
Yeah, well, I'll let you be the one to recommend it to other people.
I mean,
And
I'm the one that made the list, so
yeah, it's making me question things about you continuously. But,
I think that's good though, you know? Never let them know your next move.
ay, ay. Any final thoughts?
Only one? Would you survive?
Oh, I
You
forgot.
always forget about if we would survive or not.
Yeah, I do. Um, no, I would be dead. Because either I'm the character with all this guilt,
Mhm.
I don't do guilt very well,
Yeah.
or I'm the character in all this pain, definitely don't do pain very well. So I'm out.
Yeah. I think if we're saying that the parameters are that you're in the same situation they are, then I'm gonna say it would be a cop out that I would not be tortured because I would have fucking left and I would have never gone down that passageway in the first place. But
True.
so I'll say that's a cop out, even though I definitely would never have gone into that. I would have been out of there.
That's true.
Um, if
But would that
I'm
have mattered?
I think so. If she would have left before she found the girl in the bed, because she took her out, she was bathing her, she was caring for her for a while before they showed up. So I think
That's
she could have gotten out of there if she had just left.
true. Okay, that's fair.
Um, However, if I was captured, no, I would not survive. I would not want to. I would 100% end my own life. There is no way I'm going through what Anna went through. That sounds just fucking terrible. No, thank you. I'm good.
Yeah. I would not want to survive after any
No.
of that.
And honestly, not that curious about what happens after I die. I'm good.
Nope.
I don't need to know. I'll
Same.
find out eventually.
Yep. I'll find out on my own time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so what are we at now? We need to get a whiteboard or something hanging up behind me so that we can see who's died more often than the other. I think
That
it's
would
me.
actually be fun. I think that you should get a whiteboard for behind you.
Okay. I need to
Um,
get something for behind me.
let's see, let's see. Oh, okay, okay, okay. So this is us on the dying scale, right? Okay, so Blair Witch
Mhm.
Project, we both died. Ginger Snaps, we both lived. A Quiet Place, we both died because we fart. Midnight Mass, Midnight Mass, you died, I lived. Train to Busan, we both died. The Thing, we both died. Barbarian, did we both live? I can't remember. I know I lived.
I think I
uh,
live.
the Mist, we both lived.
Hmm.
The Menu, we both died.
No, I think you live because you're not spending that much money to eat at a restaurant,
Yeah, but wasn't that a cop out?
I
And
suppose.
then I said if I was the escort character, I would have died because I'm not gonna think to make him like make me a cheeseburger.
That's true. So
So I think
you,
the only one that we've really differed on is Midnight Mass, right?
yeah, because I want to be Catholic.
Yeah.
Mostly kidding. But
Yeah, I'm like, you can. They'd love to have you.
yeah. Would they though? I don't think they would. Um,
Actually, that's true. They probably would
there's
not love to have you.
some transgressions that I don't think that they're really keen to forgive.
Yeah.
But anyway, um, yeah, we talked about that a few episodes ago. I don't want to hash it out again.
Yeah, yeah. We'll get an official list going though of who's living, who's dying.
Yeah, yeah. It's about
I'm
time I got a background.
I'm being much more honest than I thought I would be too. Like I thought when we like decided to do this segment, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to be that bitch who says I live every time." And I feel like I've been pretty honest about what I would actually survive.
Yeah. And I, on the total opposite end of that spectrum, I thought I was gonna be a pussy for every single movie and I would just die, but not all of them.
Mm-mm. There's some really survivable ones out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, Katie,
Mhm.
next week we're going to be talking about Alien. Would you
Sigourney
like
Weaver.
okay, so we got one cast member down. Would you like to tell me what you think Alien is about? This is a pretty popular one. I feel like you can do pretty well here. Don't describe Hereditary again, but but I feel like you can nail this. I have a lot of faith in you.
Okay. Alright, and also don't describe Scream either.
Yeah, if you could not describe any movie we've already seen,
Okay.
that'd be great.
Okay. Okay. So Alien, starring Sigourney Weaver, is about a space mission. They go to space and they are probably trying to mine some resource from a planet. I'm describing Avatar.
I also was thinking Armageddon, but go for it.
Okay, so it's a popular theme. So it's not. I'm not like just describing one movie. So they're probably wanting to steal some sort of resource from the planet, and they find this alien that is a big black alien, right? And he's got lots of teeth. Am I describing Predator?
You know? No, you're doing great.
Okay, okay. And I'm pretty sure there are small aliens also, but there's one big alien. And the small aliens crawl into people's chests and explode. And at the end of the movie, Sigourney Weaver is the only one that lives. And she escapes. That's the end of the movie.
Wow, 10 out of 10.
Yeah?
Nailed it.
Did I really?
That's the film.
Oh my god. I don't even have to watch it now.
No,
See
you
you
did
next
it.
week. I'm just gonna talk straight through it.
See, this is why it's more fun when it's a movie that, like, you've never even heard of, you know,
Yeah,
'cause
yeah. Is she the only one that lives?
I guess we'll have to
Or
watch and find out.
okay, yeah, I'll find out. Yeah.
But I mean, like,
Um,
overall, that was a pretty accurate description.
okay, cool. Nice. Proud
Yeah.
of myself for just
You know,
having
I'm proud of you.
thank you. Oh my god. That means so much. I'm gonna tear up a little. I'm not in the best emotional state
After the
having to watch.
film?
Yeah. I'm gonna
Yeah.
shed a tear.
I think, you know what? You watch Martyrs and then you call someone you love, you have a nice hug, you have some soup or something. You do a lot of self-care after you watch
Yeah,
this
yeah. You're pissing, you're crying, you're throwing up.
in the club.
Like, okay. Well, next week's Alien.
Yep,
I'm excited for my girl Sigourney.
me too.
And I'm excited to find out if this movie's actually a horror movie because I don't believe it's a horror movie.
You think that aliens burst out of someone's chest and that's not
That's sci-fi.
sci-fi can be horror.
Well, that remains to be seen. I will be the judge of that next week.
What what did you think The Thing was? You didn't think that was sci-fi horror? There it is. Nailed it.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll see you next week when I'm gonna be right again.
All right. Well, that wraps it up for today. If there are any movies you'd like to hear us talk about, please let us know in the comments or shoot us a DM on our socials.
Thanks so much for listening, and we hope to see you next week when we talk about the sci-fi horror classic Alien. Bye.